Hey guys, Dr. Epic here. We're still doing the race baiting series known as ranking and speculating on Mass Effect Citadel races. We have looked at several different Citadel races already, and we are now moving on to the Salarians, everybody's favorite lizard people who used to eat flies. Now, these guys deserve a lot of respect or a lot of hate, depending on your morals and ethics, I guess. They are probably the race with the most blame in why the Galactic Society pre-Reaper War was in the state that it was, due to their responsibility for uplifting the Krogan and then subsequently essentially sterilizing them. Their technological feats are very impressive nonetheless, resulting in a small but advanced military. Their intelligence and brilliance in fast and creative thinking are woven into their biology, just like their high metabolism and fast talking. Apparently, Salarians aren't interested in reproduction just for the fun of it, but they view it in a sort of clinical, necessary and dynasty-preserving fashion, which explains why you never hear of any Salarian YouTubers being cancelled, I guess. Their ability to think non-linearly, unconventionally, and to process large amounts of information quickly explains why their intelligence agencies are so effective and valued by the Council and their allies. Salarian military doctrine isn't very conventional either. They like to strike first and without warning. A clear example of these shady and often illegal tactics being used in an organized manner is the Special Tasks Group, which set the model for the first establishment of the Spectres, which is cool. And Salarian lore is fairly cool, and there is no denying their central role in the galaxy and the story you play through. They have some cool characters like Kirihi and Morden, and I really enjoyed visiting Surkesh and seeing Salarian shadiness up close in Mass Effect 3. A game in which the Salarians' influence was pivotal to unite the galaxy and to fight the Reapers. Were it not for the Salarians, the genophage wouldn't have been invented or cured, for that matter. On the downside, on the moist critical side, if you will, they are essentially just a bipedal humanoid race which draw a lot of their design inspiration from the already established alien form and shape of the so-called classic alien or grey alien or Paul. This makes them not super unique in their design, though uniqueness comes from their amphibious dimension and all the other elements that we just gone through. I have to be unbiased, people, okay? I need to bring these things up, even the bad sides of the Salarians. That's why you trust me to tackle these hard questions that everybody is asking, but are too afraid to think. On the topic of hard questions, what role are the Salarians likely to fill in the next Mass Effect? As we know, it's highly likely given teasers and trailers so far that the setting will be in the Milky Way galaxy again. What is unclear as of writing this video, however, is whether or not the destroy, control, synthesis or refuse landing will be the canon choice. If not all of them, of course, for the next game. In the refuse landing, the Reapers will either still be alive or extinct by the actions of an unknown alien race in a new Reaper cycle, where these new aliens are operating using data and technology left behind by extinct Milky Way species, like we did with the Proteans. It looks like this is what Liara is trying to, facilitate. Or perhaps there's a entirely new generation of an unseen alien. If the Salarians are to survive into this next cycle, they could have frozen themselves in stasis, like the Proteans tried to and failed to do. The Proteans are seriously more advanced than even the brilliant Salarians, but if there is one Citadel race in the Milky Way that could pull it off, the Salarians would be the best bet. Especially with working together with other technologically advanced races like the Asari, for instance. I think it's possible for the Salarians to go into stasis and, survive the refusal ending doing that. It's difficult, but it's possible. It wouldn't break my suspension of disbelief. Just use some kind of evolved version of the Ark hibernation pods or something like that. Alternatively, of course, we know that a bunch of Salarians travel to the Andromeda galaxy, and if everything went fine enough with the Ket and Scourge and all the other Andromeda problems, these Salarian reinforcements could be heading back to the Milky Way. Of course, this is only relevant for the story if we're talking long-ass time scopes and time skips in Mass Effect 4. The Salarians never really did have a big military force, but they had an effective one, and unrivaled intelligence branches like the STG. Knowledge is power, and this is something the Salarians really knew, and if they were to put those skills to good use in a rebellion type story or something like that against a Reaper or other kind of oppressors, Salarian intelligence skills could be a very nice asset to have. Their fast minds could be very useful in assessing new scenarios and coming up with the most prudent tactical decisions in a completely new environment. I would definitely want to have Salarian inventors and spies on my side in any scenario, even if, say, the Turians traditionally have a stronger military in size and firepower. Speaking of, the Reaper War is in many ways a reset, like I've said before in this series, and who knows, perhaps the Salarians can outbreed the Turians and other stronger species, and maybe get their own firepower and manpower dominance, becoming the next dominant player. I think the Salarians, though perhaps outnumbered militarily today, could grow huge pretty fast, since they do lay a lot of eggs. Speaking of Salarian eggs, I recently learned of a subspecies of Salarian, for lack of better words. Basically a group of Salarians believing heavily in genetic and otherwise biological modification of themselves, who also believe in fertilizing more eggs than the standard traditional Salarians do. And this group is called the Lucenthi. The Wikipedia is citing Mass Effect Ascension, which is a Drew Carption 2008 novel, where they describe them as an offshoot of the Salarians, unwelcome in council space. They may be found living among Batarians, exiled Quarians, and other galactic refuse at the Omega Station. Nothing more is known about them. End quote. I cannot for the life of me and all my playthroughs remember seeing or hearing of these in-game before I investigated them now recently on the Mass Effect Wikipedia. But you know, it's believable. Sounds kind of cool. I kind of want to see them. I know not everybody will agree with me on that. And lore-wise, I just reckon they're hiding somewhere, biding their return, possibly. It was apparently a dropped story point to partake in a sort of war involving the Hanar because of these tougher Salarian guys. I would find it fairly interesting to see something like this, or maybe even a Salarian civil war unfold. I think it could be kind of cool. So if they end up doing something with that in Mass Effect 4, I think that has potential to be kind of cool, you guys. Could be very interesting to see how these other kinds of Salarians would potentially exploit the damage that the Citadel space and traditional Salarian race has suffered at Reaper hands. Perhaps we're looking at a new galactic Salarian order. I mean, like, who knows? Alright, let's give it a chance if they want to do that. If the control or synthesis ending is canon, and the conflict is basically us finding an evil shepherd AI or evil synthesis reapers or races, then Salarian ingenuity, creativity and intelligence would be paramount in any resistance against them, likely being the pivotal ally for us. If they're on our bad side as well, then, you know, Chungus help us all. The Salarians would make a powerful enemy and a big player due to their skills, even though they are, of course, physically weaker than most big Chungus species. If the destroy ending is canon, like we said on the refusal ending, I believe the Salarians will work effectively to return to their glory days or to grab even more power. It seems that the Salarian government, like the Daltras for instance, is very skeptical of increased Krogan independence and general power increase for the Krogans. I expected that some other Salarians would want to reintroduce a working genophage, providing that you cured it or the Krogan evolved past it. Salarian governments have always acted in a kind of self-serving way, so I don't think they will be a super reliable ally, even if you side with the Daltras on the genophage question. So we should definitely keep an eye on them, and they have the potential to be a strong race, seeing as the Salarian space and their homeworld wasn't hit as hard as the other Citadel races. So in conclusion, this is a tough one, but I have to be honest guys, I'd have to give the Salarians a Miranda tier alongside the humans, because Salarians have always lacked that special X factor with me, so I can't seem to place them any higher than the humans, but hey, you know, that's not a bad spot. It's the same spot as, you know, people like Shepard and Conrad Werner and guys like that, so I would personally be honored to be in that tier. But what do you guys think? Did I place these Salarians too high, too low? What do you think the Salarians will be up to in the next game? Will they be our allies or our enemies? Either way, this is Dr. Epic signing out. Like if cool, dislike if cringe. And remember, uplift that sub button.